Why the hell would you rent studio time at LA for him to finish your album when you got your own studio, Daddy's out?
And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The Fed said that too.
He said that actually happened.
You might as well tell Big Mama my name, but he told her he didn't know me. Reason he probably did that was because he knew that I was gonna tell Miss Wallace all what happened. Because he know I exchanged that night.
For many years, rumors have been swirling around the death of the famous rapper Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious Big. There have been all kinds of theories circulating, but the most famous one suggests that Diddy had a hand in taking Biggie's life. This rumor has been in speculation for years, and it seems that many fans have caught hints. Now, the truth has finally come to light.
But even his uncle, Keefe D, he's even saying that Orlando is the one that shot Tupac. And you even got ex-cops like Greg Hayden. He's out here saying that Orlando shot Tupac.
The story began when on March 8, 1997, Biggie Smalls stepped up to present an award to Toni Braxton at the Stool Train Awards in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, not everyone in the audience was a fan, and he got by some. Later that evening, Biggie attended a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. The event became too crowded and had to be shut down around 12:30 a.m. Biggie left in the second car of a 3-car caravan at about 12:45 a.m. As his car waited at a red light near the museum, another vehicle pulled up. A man wearing a blue suit and bow tie opened fire, sending about 6 shots into Biggie's car, hitting him 4 times in the chest. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Hospital but was declared dead at 1:15 a.m. It took the LAPD a month to transfer Biggie's case to the Homicide Division, a unit that handles high-profile cases. The LAPD faced allegations of corruption regarding the investigation, with suspicions involving Suge Knight and some police officers. In response, Biggie's mother filed a $400 million lawsuit against both the LAPD and the city. The case was closed at first, but 4 years later, the FBI decided to reopen it because of some new developments. They started looking into LAPD officer David Mack, who became a suspect because he drove a car similar to the one the shooter used. When they searched his home, they found a shrine to Tupac Shakur, guns that matched the ones used in the and unusual metal-piercing bullets. The FBI files suggested that Mack might have obstructed the investigation. Even though he served time for a bank, Mack has always denied any involvement in Biggie's and has kept a low profile since his release in 2010. However, there are rumors that Mack has confided in some close friends, claiming there's a direct link between Diddy and Biggie's tragic death. According to Mack, there were tensions between Diddy and Biggie for quite some time. They used to be close, with Diddy mentoring and producing for Biggie. But as their careers took off, so did conflicts and power struggles in the music industry. Mack alleges that Diddy saw Biggie as a cash cow, a way to boost his own success and wealth. Biggie's immense talent and popularity made him a valuable asset, and Diddy supposedly wanted to exploit this for his own gain. But as Biggie's fame grew, so did his desire for independence and creative control. He wanted to break away from Diddy's influence and make a name for himself in the industry. This desire for autonomy created a rift between them, with Diddy feeling threatened by Biggie's growing independence. Mack's alleged statements suggest that Diddy saw Biggie's quest for independence as a direct challenge to his authority and control. It's claimed that Diddy began to see Biggie as a liability, someone who could potentially expose the inner workings of the music industry and the ruthless tactics used to maintain power. It seems like Mack's alleged statements were true, as recently sources have revealed to Rolling Stone that Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy Records before his untimely death. His lawyers were engaged in a legal battle with Diddy to regain his publishing rights when he was According to insiders, Biggie was growing increasingly frustrated with Diddy and wanted more control over his career. Photographer Monique Bunn, a close friend of Biggie, mentioned, "Biggie was absolutely about to leave Puff. I know for a fact because he told me that." Another source added, "Everybody wanted to leave Puffy. Everybody leaves him." Before his death, Biggie was apparently considering leaving Bad Boy Records for a massive deal worth over $60 million, according to Gene Deal. In an interview with DJ Vlad, Deal talked about how he saw Biggie's Bad Boy contract while looking after Diddy's briefcase. This contract outlined Biggie's earnings but excluded publishing income, which stayed with Diddy. When Deal asked Biggie about this, Biggie reportedly mentioned his plans for a new deal that would bring in a significant amount of money.
You said that Biggie had showed you a contract that he was going to sign with another label after this next album?
Yeah, Big had a contract, and I seen Big contract, and it was talking about, well, you get $250,000, for signing. You're going to get another $250,000 if the thing go gold. Then you're going to get this much.
Interestingly, it wasn't until September 2023 that Diddy handed over Biggie's publishing rights to his estate. Since Biggie is no longer here, verifying Deal's claims about his Bad Boy contract is tough. However, in her 2005 book, Biggie's mother, Valletta Wallace, shared insights about the money he received when he joined the label. She recalled her son Christopher's experiences and provided more context about his early earnings with Bad Boy Records. She said, "The truth is, Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. He'd never laid eyes on that much money all at once in his life. It was enough to convince my son that Puffy would do anything for him. It bought him unquestioning loyalty and affection." Gene Deal believes there were two reasons behind Biggie's. First, he claims Diddy stood to profit financially from it. Deal says Diddy had a large life insurance policy on Biggie, guaranteeing a big payout if anything happened to him. Second, Deal suggests Diddy wanted to scare other artists into not challenging his authority. Biggie's was meant to send a clear message, a chilling reminder of what could happen to anyone who challenged or tried to break free from Diddy's influence. It was a ruthless display of power and control aimed at maintaining the music industry's established order. Interestingly, Biggie was originally scheduled to be in London when he was. Kirk Burroughs, former president of Bad Boy Records, discussed this in an interview with Art of Dialogue. Burroughs recounted how they had to head to Los Angeles for the awards season, where they were dealing with multiple nominations.
Who idea was it, man, for Biggie to go to LA so soon, knowing that Tupac got 6 months earlier?
The award show season was up. We had to go out there to participate in that. We had records that were nominated. We were a launching company that already launched and we were successful. We could not go, but Biggie did have an inconvenience. He had a car accident.
Despite Biggie recovering from a car accident and dealing with a broken femur, skipping the event wasn't an option. Biggie eventually agreed to head to LA early to avoid any last-minute rush. Clive Davis, who was heading Arista Records at the time, had planned an extensive marketing blitz for Biggie, including an international press tour in London following the awards show. They had a detailed plan set for Biggie's departure to London on an early Saturday morning flight after the event. Kirk Burroughs, sharing insights in an interview, mentioned that late Friday night or early Saturday morning, Biggie called P. Diddy and canceled his trip to London. Despite being all set to go, Biggie chose to stay in LA instead. Burroughs stressed that Biggie might have preferred not to go if Diddy had given him the option not to.
Clive Davis, who backed so many artists, believed in Bad Boy so much, he put together a marketing campaign that was never seen before. I know for a fact that he was prepared to go, would have loved not to go if his label owner had only said, "You don't have to go big."
Burroughs suggests that Biggie might have opted to record his album in LA to assert himself. This, along with attending events in the city, may have contributed to the tragic outcome. There were warnings beforehand about the need for better security in LA, and Burroughs points out that budget constraints played a role. The security budget allocated for Biggie had already been used up during the LA portion of the trip, leaving him without sufficient protection when plans suddenly changed. In the same interview, Burroughs contradicts a statement from Diddy in another interview where Diddy said Biggie wanted to go to LA.
And he told Fat Joe that he didn't want to go to LA, he actually wanted to go to London. But Biggie, he was the one that wanted to go to LA, and he was the one that was pushing to go to LA.
That's not true.
Burroughs insists that Biggie didn't want to go and was persuaded to remain in LA rather than travel to London.
He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever a rapper of your stature getting this treatment. That would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night.
Diddy convinced Biggie to come to LA at a time when it was risky for him to be seen in the city. On top of that, Diddy didn't arrange proper security for his top star, which doesn't make sense. Gene Deal also voiced these concerns in his interview. Deal shared his thoughts on Biggie traveling to Los Angeles shortly after Tupac's death and during the height of the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop feud. Deal began by addressing criticism that Biggie might have been asking for trouble by going to LA so soon after Tupac's. He dismissed the idea that it was a smart decision for Biggie to be in LA at that time, pointing out that most people would agree he shouldn't have been there.
You would get 100 people in the room, and out of the 100 people, probably 3 would say it was all right for Big to be in LA. 97% of those people would say he had no business in LA at that time. We all knew that.
Gene Deal also emphasized why Diddy would rent studio time for Biggie in LA to finish his album when they had their own studio, Daddy's house in New York. He questions the wisdom of sending Biggie to LA, suggesting it was a risky move considering the recent violent incidents and tensions between East Coast and West Coast artists.
Why would Puff rent studio time? Come on, man, look. You gotta look at what people do, man. You know Pac just got no kind of business Big was doing. Big couldn't even walk, he couldn't run. They was pushing him around in a wheelchair, brother.
If these allegations turn out to be true, Diddy could face serious legal consequences. The of the Notorious Big is still unsolved, and if Diddy's alleged involvement comes to light, it could reopen the investigation and prompt a reassessment of the evidence. There is significant evidence linking Diddy to Biggie's death, and even more suggesting his role in Tupac's. Diddy has always been outspoken about how much he loves the Notorious Big, but apparently, he might have prevented the late rapper from getting a Rolling Stone cover after his death. Burroughs says that Rolling Stone offered Bad Boy the chance to honor Biggie's legacy, but Diddy insisted on taking the spotlight for himself. "I was talking to Sean, let's make it Biggie. You still have a chance for a cover in the future," Burroughs recalled, to which he says Diddy responded, "No, he's dead. I'm putting out Combs' debut album No Way Out in July. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone." Combs ended up gracing the 1997 cover of the magazine titled Puff Daddy, the New King of Hip Hop. The article also mentioned how some people believe Diddy took advantage of Biggie's death.
So back then, for them to put Big on there and say it to his legacy, that would have been something real big for Rolling Stone.
In 1999, Diddy kind of confirmed those rumors when he told Rolling Stone, "I think his passing added to the fame. At least 2 million of the nearly 5 million copies of No Way Out sold were due to his death, straight up. And that doesn't necessarily feel good, but that's the reality." According to sources, Combs was also jealous of the close friendship between Tupac Shakur and the Notorious Big before their deaths. One story from former Bad Boy partner and president Kirk Burroughs revealed that Diddy felt left out when Shakur and Biggie became buddies. Referring to Diddy, Burroughs said, "There was someone on the sidelines jealous Wallace was with Bad Boy while Shakur was signed to the rival Death Row Records." But the article says Combs actually liked Shakur and tried to be his friend. However, the California Love rapper wasn't interested at all. Pac didn't have any kind of respect for Puff, hip-hop photographer Monique Bunn told the outlet, explaining that he thought of Combs as a corny executive, and according to Burroughs, of Wallace as his peer. Bunn explained that everything got blown out of proportion after a 1994 incident where Shakur was shot 5 times in a New York City recording studio. Shakur believed Combs and his Bad Boy crew had arranged it. Tensions escalated between Shakur and Wallace after that, and in September 1996, Shakur was in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas at age 25. Less than a year later, Wallace was also shot and in Los Angeles at age 24. Recently, a detective from the Las Vegas police who was looking into Tupac Shakur's 1996 told a grand jury that they had a theory connecting his death to the of rapper Biggie Smalls. According to the transcript from a recent Clark County grand jury session, retired Detective Clifford Mogg mentioned that investigators who worked on Shakur's case believed that people associated with both were involved. Mogg later added that the theory was accurate, that they were related. He didn't specify the theory, but he did mention that Dwayne Davis, who was recently charged with the of Shakur, was not involved. "When you say they were related, you're not saying perpetrated by the same individuals," Chief Deputy District Attorney Mark DiGiacomo said, and Mogg responded, "That's correct." Mogg also said in another grand jury session that he believes Davis went public about his part in Shakur's shooting to make some money. So did he at any time state why he did so many interviews, being that no one had been actually charged for If he was involved, why is he speaking out so much? DiGiacomo asked. Mogg answered, "The only reason that I can see now that he is doing all of these interviews is monetary gain." Mogg testified that one reason for the July 2023 search of Davis's house was to check if he had received any payments related to his claims about Shakur's death.
PPD, the $1 million question. On all four of those occasions for San Diego, Anaheim, Irvine, and Vegas, which ones do you actually talk to Puffy at?
There we go.
During his grand jury testimony, Mogg read excerpts from Davis's book, Compton Street Legend, to highlight Davis's involvement in a gang and to share details about the events surrounding Shakur's death. Davis, now charged with has long claimed he was at the scene, saying he was in the front seat of a white Cadillac when it pulled up next to Shakur's car and shots were fired from the back seat. Shakur was shot 4 times and died 6 days later. In an interview with the FBI, Keffe D claimed that Diddy himself approached him and offered a whopping $1 million to Tupac Shakur.
After Pac got Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping. I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The Fed said that too.
He said that actually happened.
Keffe D admits he hesitated at first when offered the deal, but eventually went through with it. What's even more chilling is his claim that there were multiple witnesses to his agreement with Diddy. This means others might know about the plot to Tupac, adding more weight to Keffe D's story and deepening the mystery around Tupac's. Who are these witnesses, and why have they stayed silent all these years? Keffe D also suggests that Tupac confronted someone else involved in the plot, probably his nephew Orlando Anderson. This revelation adds more layers to the complex web of individuals and motives surrounding Tupac's death, raising more questions about who else might have been involved and why. Keffe D hints that Diddy's offer and Tupac's confrontation with Orlando were the triggers for. As the video goes on, Keffe D drops another bombshell. Andre Harrell, a big name in the music industry, was present when the hit was ordered.
Even his uncle, Keffe D, he's even saying that Orlando is the one that shot Tupac. And you even got ex-cops like Greg Hayden. He's out here saying that Orlando shot Tupac.
The involvement of Andre Harrell raises a lot of questions. What was his role in the assassination plot? What were his connections to Diddy and Tupac? And how does he fit into the bigger picture? Keffe D's confession has huge implications. If true, it suggests that Tupac Shakur's wasn't just a random act, but a planned assassination by powerful people in the music industry. This challenges the idea that Tupac's death was simply the result of a gang feud and points to a darker motive. It also seems like Diddy has been avoiding Keffe D after getting him to do the dirty work. For instance, on October 16, 2023, 50 Cent shared a video on Instagram with the caption, "Laughing my A off. Brother love, show some love. Damn, should have just sent this fool a few dollars." In the video, Keffe D talks to Art of Dialogue about his thoughts on Diddy and their relationship. Keffe D expresses concern about how Diddy treats him compared to others, emphasizing that Diddy should have been more loyal to people like him. Keffe D deeply regrets ever getting involved with Diddy. He recalls how his life was going great until he crossed paths with Diddy, but things took a turn for the worse afterward. Keffe D had hoped for recognition or support from Diddy due to their past connections, but he was disappointed. According to Keffe D, Diddy didn't show any love or help, especially during tough times. Keffe D also talks about the irony of Diddy changing his name to Brother Love, given their history together. In the past, 50 Cent criticized Diddy for profiting from Biggie's legacy. In 2010, 50 Cent launched a Twitter campaign called RIP Big, expressing his belief that Diddy was exploiting Biggie's name for financial gain. 50 Cent argued that Diddy should stop using Biggie's name to boost his own popularity and questioned whether Diddy had genuinely honored his late friend. Many people supported 50 Cent's campaign. On Monday, October 9th, 50 Cent posted on Instagram suggesting that Diddy should be ready with a lawyer because he might have ties to Tupac's death. He wrote, "Damn, so Pat got lined by Brother Love LOL. Time to lawyer up. Might get sticky." This post came 2 weeks after officials charged Dwayne Keffe D. Davis with homicide in connection to Tupac's death. Apart from Biggie and Tupac, there are some videos circulating that don't portray Diddy in a good light. They involve his former associates from Uptown Records. Uptown Records was known for its talent and success, but it had humble beginnings with leaders like Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, Puffy, and Kim Porter. Together they aimed to dominate the music industry, and they did succeed. However, tragedy struck in the last decade as each member faced untimely deaths. The first loss was Andre Harrell, the visionary founder who passed away at 59 due to a fatal heart attack.
Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, Al B. Sure, Heavy D, and Puffy. Kim is dead. Heavy D is dead.
Yeah.
Andre Harrell is dead. Everybody that worked at Uptown Records from the very beginning is gone. Just him. The late of Uptown Records, they were all writing tell-all books. Andre was writing a book right before he died.
Besides the controversies and legal troubles Diddy is already dealing with, he's now facing more problems that could seriously impact his business empire. Recently, Cassie Ventura has filed a lawsuit making disturbing allegations against Diddy. She claims their relationship was marked by A, coercion and violence. According to the lawsuit, Ventura alleges that Diddy used his power to manipulate and control her. She claims he coerced her into taking and forced her into encounters with male against her will. The level of control he had over her was overwhelming, leaving her feeling trapped and helpless. But the allegations don't end there. Ventura also accuses Diddy of physical A, saying he hit her repeatedly during their relationship. The lawsuit portrays a turbulent and volatile partnership where violence was disturbingly common. The scars, both physical and emotional, run deep. Perhaps the most shocking claim is Ventura's accusation that in 2019, Diddy forced his way into her home and her. The lawsuit describes a traumatic incident where she was violated by someone she once trusted and loved. The trauma inflicted on her is immeasurable, leaving her shattered and seeking justice. Ventura's story is not the only one that has emerged. Other high-profile relationships that Diddy has had, including those with Jennifer Lopez and Cameron Diaz, have also been mentioned in the lawsuit. While no specific allegations have been made against these women, their inclusion in the legal documents raises eyebrows and adds another layer of intrigue to the unfolding drama. The web of allegations surrounding Diddy continues to expand as another woman steps forward with shocking claims of her own. Joey Dickerson-Neal has filed a lawsuit against the music mogul, accusing him of unthinkable acts that have left her scarred for life. Her allegations depict a man consumed by power and a complete disregard for the well-being of others. According to the lawsuit, Dickerson-Neal alleges that in 1991, Diddy drugged and her, committing an act of unspeakable violence that would forever change her life. But the horror doesn't stop there. She claims that Diddy took things even further by videotaping the assault and sharing the tape within the music industry. This despicable act not only caused her physical harm but also inflicted deep emotional wounds. The lawsuit states that the distribution of the tape had a devastating impact on Dickerson-Neal's life, leading to a loss of trust, self-esteem, and a constant fear of exposure. The trauma she endured has left profound scars that may never fully heal. However, Diddy vehemently denies these allegations, dismissing them as a mere money grab. He maintains his innocence, arguing that Dickerson-Neal's accusations are unfounded and lack merit. The battle lines have been drawn, and as the lawsuit unfolds, the world watches with a mix of shock and fascination. Will justice be served for Dickerson-Neal? Will the truth prevail? These questions linger as the legal battle continues. But the allegations from Cassie and Dickerson-Neal are not the only ones that have shaken Diddy's world. Liza Gardner has stepped forward with her own lawsuit, accusing Diddy and R&B singer Aaron Hall of S.A. Gardner alleges that she and a friend experienced unwanted advances and inappropriate behavior from Diddy and Hall at an event. They were later invited to Hall's apartment for an after-party where the alleged assault occurred. According to the lawsuit, Diddy and Hall were flirtatious and overly familiar, offering drinks spiked with unknown substances. The night took a terrifying turn, leaving Gardner and her friend deeply traumatized and seeking justice. Diddy has once again denied these accusations, dismissing them as unsubstantiated. He maintains that any interactions were consensual and claims to be falsely accused. The legal battle between Gardner and Diddy adds another layer of complexity to the ongoing saga surrounding the music mogul. The allegations against Diddy take an even darker turn as a woman identified as Jane Doe steps forward with a horrifying account of her own. Jane Doe alleges she was T and gang R by Diddy and two others when she was just 17 years old. According to her lawsuit, Diddy lured her to New York City under the guise of helping her launch a music career. Instead, upon arrival, she claims she was taken to Diddy's recording studio where she says she was and subjected to horrific violence. Jane Doe further claims she was gang R, enduring unimaginable pain and trauma. The lawsuit asserts she was held against her will and forced into a life of S-exploitation and A. These shocking allegations have rocked Diddy's once impeccable reputation in the music industry. Formerly seen as a titan of influence, he now faces a maelstrom of controversy. Major brands and sponsors are distancing themselves from him, fearing any association with such serious accusations. Collaborations and business ventures have ground to a halt as the industry grapples with the gravity of these claims. Despite the storm surrounding him, Diddy vehemently denies all allegations, characterizing them as baseless attempts at extortion. As legal proceedings unfold, the world waits for the truth to emerge. The lawsuits brought by Cassie Ventura, Joy Dickerson-Neal, Liza Gardner, and Jane Doe have ignited a broader conversation about women's rights and within the entertainment realm. Will justice actually happen? Will the truth come out? These are the big questions hanging over everyone's heads as the survivors of these tragedies try to find some peace. The music industry is also wrestling with the urgent need for change. But here's the twist. KD is pleading not guilty in Tupac's trial right now. What if he changes his plea to guilty? And what if that happens? What does it mean for Diddy? What if his involvement in Biggie's death is proven? These are some heavy things to think about. That's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching.